Today we're going to have some fun and compare the Nike Pegasus Plus to the Salomon DRX Defy. They're very, very similar in lots of respects, including weight, stack height, and platform width, yet they have very different personalities on the run. The Nike is $180 available now, and the Salomon is $140, a big price difference, and also available now. Hello everybody, Sam from RoadTrailRun. We're in beautiful, warm Park City, but there's a lot of smoke in the air from fires nearby. So today we're going to compare the Salomon DRX Defy to the Nike Pegasus Plus. What's interesting about these shoes is they share almost exactly the same stack height and the same platform width and the same weights. Yet they're very different in ride and fit. Both of them, I would say, are in the category of what's now lower stack shoes. The Pegasus Plus has a 35 millimeter heel, 25 millimeter forefoot, so a 10 millimeter drop, whereas our Salomon has a 34 millimeter heel, 26 millimeter forefoot, a bit more there, so an 8 millimeter drop. So they're very close. Their platform widths, I said, are identical at a 85 millimeter heel, 65 millimeter forefoot, 110 millimeter up front. So they're very, very similar. However, let's start with their foams, and I'm going to take them out on the run. Actually, the run sequences are in New Hampshire on the coast here. We're at about 2,000 meters up in the mountains, but I didn't quite finish in New Hampshire. So in terms of their foams, what we have here is Nike's Zoom X, and there's a couple millimeters more than what we had in the Pegasus Turbo. So it's a bit higher stack than before. This Zoom X is not the same as what they put in their racing shoes. It's a bit denser and I think a bit heavier. But it is a supercritical foam, and it's 100% Zoom X here. So whereas in our Salomon, we have their energy foam, which we see in their in a lot of their trail shoes. Most of their shoes have energy foam or energy foam plus. They have now in some of their super road shoes, and it is somewhat softer in feel than what we have in the Pegasus Turbo. In terms of the uppers, and I'll get into details on that, we clearly have a broader, more relaxed fit in the Salomon. Even though the construction is sort of similar. We have sort of a panel through here on both of them that supports. The mesh feels quite similar. The Salomon's may be a touch softer. The Nike, as you can see here, has that stripe down the middle, the webbing strap, which when I first tried them on, and I also have a review of the Pegasus Plus, and we'll soon have one written for the DRX Defy. This strap was kind of pushes down a bit, but as you can see, they've stretched out nicely. The main difference in fit for me is you can see the width of the entry of the Salomon versus the Nike. Not nearly the heel hold, even though it has a pretty substantial heel counter, not quite as stiff, if you will, as the Nike. The Nike has a better rear hold. You can even see that I had to do a lace lock on the Salomon. So the Salomon's going to definitely favor a broader, higher volume fit over the Nike. And you can see that right here. Definitely. So if you have a higher volume, wider foot, and you want a light unplated shoe that has plenty of cushioning, I would move over to the Salomon, although it won't quite handle the faster paces of the Nike, which is really a performance trainer. I've had a lot of great runs in the Nike. The Salomon's a bit more relaxed. Looking underfoot, you can see the two outsoles. The Nike definitely has more grip. I found that they're decent even on light trails, whereas the Salomon has a quite conventional road outsole. Um, it's a little less slappy on the road than the Pegasus Plus at slower paces. So what I've done is I'm taking them out, but there's another thing we really got to look at here. You have identical stats, weight, stack height, platform width, yet the Nike is $180, whereas our Salomon is $140. So the Salomon, if you want kind of a more relaxed, softer ride at those kind of stack heights, is for sure a better value. If you want kind of a high performance daily trainer up-tempo shoe, then you'll look over at the Nike. But I think the Nike could be priced a bit lower. So I took them out on the road in New Hampshire, and I'm going to give you my thoughts from the run. But these are two great options, very, very similar in statistics, but quite different in ride, and I'm going to get into that right away. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the comparative fit of our Nike and our Salomon. Clearly, the Salomon has a relaxed, broader fit, whereas our Nike is more performance oriented and especially has a pointier toe box. Both of them are true to size for me. I've run a bunch in the Nike, no issues, but if you have a broader, higher volume foot, the Salomon is going to be a better choice. There is a little catch here though. I had to use a lace lock in the Salomon. I think the platform at the sock line or at the bottom of the heel counter is quite broad. But I'm okay, but it's a more relaxed fit. I wish it was a bit snugger. Whereas our Nike has a real solid performance hold. The Salomon heel hold is more comfortable, but it is a bit loose, whereas the Nike's is all dialed in. So if you're looking for a fit for a broader, higher volume foot, I would suggest the Salomon, understanding that it's not going to be quite as performance oriented as our Nike. Lace up, the Nike I think wins there too. Remember, it's $40 more than the Salomon. Same stack height, and I'm going to give you some impressions from the run about the ride. Very close. But the lace up's really good. No real problems with the Salomon, except I had to do the lace lock. Just a bit more comfortable, more easygoing and mellow in fit than the Nike. Well, you're going to say I'm nuts to compare these two, but as I said before, they have identical stack height to a millimeter, identical weight, identical platform width. So they're very, very similar by stats, but also in purpose, as both are unplated, light, 8.4 ounces or so, up-tempo to daily trainers. So how do they differ in terms of ride? First, run them both, but side by side. Well, our Nike is quicker reacting. The Zoom X here isn't the same as what's in their racing shoes. It's firmer, quicker reacting, whereas our Salomon is softer and bouncier. Particularly noticing the forefoot of the Salomon is seems more cushioned, even though stack height is the same. So really depends on what you're looking for in this kind of shoe. And as I said, in the fit, there's no question that Salomon has a roomier toe box and not quite as secure midfoot to rear of the shoe. So we'll favor higher volume feet, wider feet, a bit better than the Nike, which is definitely performance oriented and has that pointier lower toe box. Beautiful. Some leaves changing colors as well here in New Hampshire. Coming into the harbor, boats are coming out of the water. Now a bit more about the ride here. The going about 10:30 pace, slow. Nike is slappier and more awkward than our Salomon at slow paces. Salomon's smoother. However, at faster paces, I found the Nike is more reactive, quicker feeling. Although the Salomon still has that really pleasant bounce. It's not overly soft, but this is definitely on the soft side. Both have a wide-ish platform, lowish stack, so they're stable in a sense. I'm going to show you a few more of the boats. Quiet at the harbor. So let's talk about the two different foams. I mentioned it earlier. The Salomon has a EVA olefin copolymer block blend, whereas the Nike has Sumex, which is a PEBA foam, but it's not the same PEBA that I can tell as in, say, a Vaporfly and Alphafly. It's denser, actually denser feeling than the Salomon foam. Salomon foam we find in many of their shoes, trail shoes, road shoes, always about the same firmness, density. The Nike foam, a bit firmer, a bit stiffer, more suited to faster paces. Bouncy, fun kind of foam over in the Salomon. Better for daily training if the upper works for you. So coming to the breakwater here, at the end of the harbor, one of my favorite runs. Turn around, should see it in storms. It's amazing. And let's talk about best uses here, or how they compare. I would say the Salomon is going to be a better choice if your runs lean towards the shorter end and slower, and you have a wider foot. Certainly can pick up the pace. It's much more pleasant at easy paces. Well, I would say much more, but quite a bit more pleasant than the Nike. Rolls a bit easier, less slappy. And of course, as we said before, it's sort of weaknesses. If you have a low volume foot, the upper hold really doesn't compare that well to the Nike. It's fine, but as you pick up the pace, the Nike's upper, if it fits you, becomes an advantage. It's not crazy low volume or narrow. It's just a bit pointy up front. So the Nike is lean, faster paces, more kind of tempo shoe without a plate than the Salomon, which I think leans more daily training side, although both are super light. Both have the same stack height, pretty much. Both have the same platform width. So they're very close, but they just have different personalities. Easy going for the Salomon, get a fast shoe, broader fit, more dialed in, more sort of tempo training, although I certainly have done just regular daily training a lot in it. So that's my summary. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great run.